Talking Brazil ball, we're breaking it down. Bringing the passion from every town.
Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Talking Brazil Ball, episode 94. We're edging closer to that 100th episode all the time, and today Santos sink Vasco and goals galore in yet another round of the Brasileirão, and here is Talking Brazil Ball. Enough of that then. It's yes, we're here to stay. Well, I am anyway. And it's Brasileirão talking Brazil ball. We're here again with yet another episode, like I said, we're edging closer every single time to the 100th episode. And first of all, without further ado, we will run down all of round 23's results. So they went a little bit like this. So first things first, it started on whenever it did. I'm just getting the results here. Saturday, 15th of August, Fluminense 3, Palmeiras 2, PR 1, Bragantino 1, Sao Paulo 1, Curitiba 1, Chapecoense 3, Bahia 3, Galo 3, Grêmio 0, Vasco 0, Santos 3, Mirassol 1, Flamengo 5, Vitória 1, Fogo 0, Corinthians 1, Cruzeiro 2. And the match day rounded up with Inter 1, Remo 1. So there you go. And then we go straight into the game of the week, which was Vasco against Santos. I billed it as a relegation type battle, a basement battle. Teams were in the lower echelons of the division. Obviously, with the result, 3-0 success, Cuca's Santos now sit in 14th position, but only 2 points above the relegation zone. Tantalizingly close in the bottom half of the table, really. Vasco sits second bottom, but 11 points clear of bottom place Chapecoense, who did get a positive result in their game, of course. We'll come on to that a little bit later. But yeah, Vasco really struggling now. The Portuguese manager, Pedro Emanuel, hasn't really got going. And if they're not careful with 16, 17 games to go here, they're going to end up being relegated and slipping into Serie B. Do they need a change of manager? I would say probably so. They're just not really doing much, are they? Even though they haven't been on that bad form, really, there hasn't been a league win for a while though. Seven league games without a win. They have won in other competitions since then, but no wins in the league since the 11th of May. They won at home against PR. It's not good enough, that really, and Vasco are in danger here. Absolutely battered by Santos on the weekend, really, and it just, I don't know. They had a lot of shots, did Vasco, and again, lots of touches in the opposition box, more than Santos did, but they were just clinical at the times. It was a combination of clinicality for Santos and the goalkeeper, Leo Hardim, for Vasco being absolutely atrocious. He had an awful game, but they were well in it, Vasco, for the majority of the game, and then just got, Santos' quality just shone through. Like I said, also the disappointment of the goalkeeper's performance, Leo Hardim. He parried a couple of these goals, the last two from Arau and Perez, the two centre-backs on the day for Santos. It was really poor. Free kick from Neymar came in on one of them, and he just parried it, and it hit the fella and went in. And then the next one, he couldn't catch it. The ball was like a bar of soap, and he just couldn't get hold of it. And he had a really poor game, and those two mistakes obviously cost them the game. Were in the midst of about 4 minutes of each other as well. So Not a good one for Pedro Manuel or Leo Hardim in the Vasco goal. Vasco, like I said, really struggling for any kind of consistency in the league at all. I know we've had the break since May. It feels like a long time ago since May, but we did have the World Cup break obviously in there. But that is still 7 games where they haven't had a positive result in the league. And yeah, Santos, they keep going under Kuka. Like we know, regular watch of the channel, Kuka is one of my favourite managers in the league. Santos aren't doing too badly, really. Not doing too badly, generally. I think it's it's safe to say, but Vasco are no real competition at the moment, and Santos be again looking like wanting to put themselves in the Sudamericana next round as well. They did win the first leg against CSD Macara. I remember speaking about this last time. The Ecuadorian side, Arreo and Barbosa were again on the score sheets. They won 2-1. There is a second leg in Ecuador tomorrow evening as of recording. So let's wait and see how they get on there. They play on the week against Santos. Against Mirasol, which is another kind of tricky game. Mirasol, if they do beat them, will go ahead of Santos. That's how close the league is at this moment in time. So let's wait and see how things progress there. But Santos doing okay, much needed result for them. Vasco absolutely the other way, and really, really in dire need now of a result. They are as well in Sudamericana action tomorrow evening. They drew their first leg, first leg of this round against Paraguayan side Olympia. So they are in Paraguay tomorrow evening. So let's wait and see if they can get through this in the Sudamericana. And then I don't know if they are on the side of the draw as Santos, and they would play Santos. I'm not exactly sure, but Sao Paulo are already through. There's Galo who are playing RB Bragantino as well tonight, or Brazilian tie that one as well, of course. So there's a few Brazilian sides already. One up and looking to get into the next round. Of course, Fogo were absolutely trounced against Cienciano in Peru the other day, 6-1. I don't think there's any way back for Fogo in that game. They will be absolutely devastated with that. But it looking likely maybe that Santos can get through. You maybe have fancied Galo to get through as well. And like I said, Sao Paulo are already through. So, yeah, let's wait and see how that sort of shapes up the Copa Sudamericana. Of course, Vasco, if they can't do much in the league, they'll be wanting to do something in the continental competition. Let's wait and see if they can do that, because then there's a almost impossible task. I know Palmeiras seem to be faltering, but they've got them away on the Sunday, so that's going to be a difficult game again, isn't it, for Vasco? Not doing very well at all, but that is the game of the week done and dusted. And now we move on to this one. And who else? It was a case of a couple of them in this round this time. Pedro scored a couple of goals for Flamengo in their 5-1 thrashing of Mirasol. But we always seem to be giving it to the likes of Pedro. Oh, I'm talking Brazil ball, really. So I thought, let's go for something a little bit different here. And a fella from my team, and we never talk about Galo, it seems, on the pod anymore. But we are going to do right now, because my team, Galo, won 3-0 over Grêmio over the weekend. And that man Thomas Coelho was at the double, got 2 goals in the space of 4 minutes to really put Grêmio to the sword. Victor Hugo had already put Gallo 1-0 up in the first half, and then Coelho got the two quick goals, almost similar to one another. Both the goals arriving at the back post late and slipped the ball in past Weatherton in the Gremio goal, and it was very similar, two very similar goals. But yeah, he got man of the match. He gets our player of the round. A really, really solid performance from Garlo, and they themselves run a little bit of a real good sort of unbeaten run here. 9 games unbeaten in all competitions since a 1-0 away defeat at Corinthians in May before the World Cup. So they are, they're doing well, like we said. They've got the Bragantino second leg. Coelho, of course, scored the goal in Bragantino to beat them, in midweek. Last one gone. They play again tonight. Be interesting to see if Gallo can get through and if Coelho can keep the good run going. But that's 3 goals in his last 2 games in all competitions. Gallo hasn't scored any more. He scored 3 of the 4 goals that they've scored in those games. And Dominguez, he's doing all right, really. He's doing all right. We seem to have risen up the table to 8th position, fairly quickly. And, because they always seem to be teetering in and around the relegation zone, really, at the moment, Gallo, but definitely not this time. Seems like they've risen up the table. Seems like they're looking towards the sort of continental finishes, obviously, which they will get again if they finish in 8th position where they are currently. But there's no reason why they can't go on to the top 4, really. 6 points off Fluminense in 4th currently. And I don't see any reason why, if Gallo can keep this up, why they can't finish in the top 4. The upturn of results has been great. Put Gremio to the sword, which sometimes are a tricky team to sort of dispatch of. So, yeah, it's looking good. Couple of nice goals from Coelho will have, risen his confidence because he doubled his goal tally with those 2 goals on the weekend as well. So, yeah, good for him, good for the team and all. Hopefully they can rise up the table now and keep that good form going, get into the latter stages, or even win the Sudamericana, and then jobs are good. And they do play up against Inter on the weekend. It's the traditional talking Brazil ball derby. I'm sure James will be looking at it as well, won't he? And hoping for an Inter win. Obviously, Inter struggling a little bit at the bottom of the table at the moment, but on the bad side, it's always a difficult game there. But Coelho, if Coelho's on form again, then Gallo have got a good opportunity. He wins our Player of the Round award this time, so well done to him. Well done to Gallo. Vamos, Gallo. And well done to Eduardo Dominguez as well. He's getting the lads going. So that's very, very good. On to the next one then, and it is this one. Yeah, Brazilian football at its best here, and this was Brazilian football at its best, to be fair. There was a few that could have won it, a couple of nice goals here and there. Remember Corinthians goal, not that he meant much in the end, was quite a nice finish. There was 1 or 2 nice finishes, but this one, the Bahia last goal as well, was very, very nice. But the man to win it was Vitor Bueno for Remo. And with the last kick of pretty much the last kick of the round, last goal of the round, the last kick of the round, he equalised the game against Internacional in the 5th minute of injury time. They'd actually gone over the allotted 4 minutes, but it was a free kick from Bueno, who, just thought, I'm going to have a go. I know it took a slight deflection off one of the Inter defenders' heads in the wall, but it was only a slight nick, and it was well far out. And he just thought, you know what, I'm just going to have a go. And if you don't win it, you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the lottery. And he certainly did that, and he certainly won the lottery, as it were, with that goal as it buried itself in the net. The ball buried itself in the goal, and he ran off with his shirt off, mobbed by his teammates. And it's a really important point. Any point, we know when you're down there in the relegation zone, any point is a really important point. And, you don't know come the end of the season how much, what the deficit's going to be. Remo are mingling with Vasco and Mirasol at the moment to get out of the relegation zone. They're only a point behind Inter at the moment. So Inter will have been very disappointed because a win would have, lifted them up to 14th position. As it is, the 16th, just a point above Mirasol, a point above Remo, who were, were the opponents on Tuesday, early hours of Tuesday here, wasn't it? But yeah, I mean, it was, the goal that Carbonero for Inter scored as well was a really nice goal. It was like 2 touches and it was in the net. Big, long diagonal down the left-hand side. Fella, crossed the ball in straight to Carbonero, and he put it in first time. It was a lovely goal, but I think Bueno's just trumped it. It was a fabulous effort. We don't really see that many free kicks win goal of the round, but I thought, what, that was a great goal, a great point for Remo, and a little bit of kind of, well, why not? Let's just have a go. And like I said, you're not going to win it if you're not going to win the, you're not going to win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket. So fabulous effort from him. I'm sure he was absolutely delighted with that. He definitely looked like he was. I think it was his first goal of the season as well. No, it was his third goal of the season. So he's not doing too badly there for Remo. 3 goals and 3 assists so far in the season. The top scorer, of course, is Jaja Silva with 6 goals. So they're sharing the goals around. They're not doing too badly, really. I think a lot of people would have had Remo down as finishing bottom straight up, but we know better, don't we? After Mirasol's heroics last season, we should know a lot better than that. But we still, predict these teams to go right 20th, right at the bottom. It's not always like that, but Remo are making a real good fist of it, and with the likes of Vitor Bueno scoring goals like that, will definitely be in with a shout staying up. So well done to him, well done to them. They keep plugging on and doing okay. As for Inter, again, like I said, languishing above the relegation zone. Garlo to come on the weekend, and not in any, not in any competitions in terms of, continental competitions. They are in the Copa do Brazil latter stages. They do play Grêmio. It's a grand old derby. They do play Grêmio in the quarterfinals of the Copa do Brazil. That is next Friday as of recording. So that's a big one. If they can win the cup, then they might see that and stay up, obviously. They might see that as a decent season. As it stands, if they don't win anything, and obviously if they get relegated, it's a disastrous season. But there you go. What can you say about Inter? They really are struggling in the league. No wins in 7 since a thrashing of Vasco in the middle of May. That is as well 4 league defeats in that time as well, and they all came in a row up until late July. So it's not looking that good for Inter. But, with a game against Galo to come, maybe the Copa do Brazil derby will reignite them and give them the vigour to stay up, because they are sliding dangerously close to the trapdoor there, and it's not guaranteed that they stay up either. So let's wait and see what happens there. But congratulations to Remo and Bueno for that goal. It was great. On to the next one then, and the final award to give out in this episode. It is, of course, The Young Player of the Round award. And the Young Player of the Round award, forgive me because I did forget his name last week. He was in the mix. He scored a goal. He scored 2 in 2. And we don't often again talk about this team on the pod in a positive light. So we've got, Chapecoense fans have really got to relish this moment because we don't speak very highly of them at all. We don't speak of them at all generally on the pod anymore because they are very, very cut adrift right at the bottom of the Brasileirão at the moment. Well far off staying up. I think there's something like 14 points away from Inter in 16th position. They are going to get relegated. But it was a positive result for them again at the weekend. And they fought back. They showed that fighting spirit to keep coming back, keep going. And this man, he scores every time he plays in the league. It's Tulio. And now Tulio came from lower league side Deciano, I think, or Deciao. I think, I don't even know. I think Syria D. Now he's come from them, and he scored two in his first 2 league games. Also played in the Copa do Brasil, which he didn't score in, but he scored 2 in 2. And like I said, he scored last week against Curitiba. They lost the game. It was a last-minute consolation. That's why I think I just forgot him, and he was not going to win the, Young Player of the Round award that time. But this time, he was the only man, 21 or younger to score in this round of fixtures. So it went to him. It was a lovely goal again from Tulio, and like I said, Chapecoense, they kept going 1 down. Then get pegging them back Bahia, and eventually after AC Vido scored for Bahia, 6 minutes later Tulio got the goal, and that was the finishing. That was the end of the scoring. It was a crazy basketball type game, and Chapecoense ended the game on a positive result. And Tulio, like I said, 2 in 2 after coming from Serie D. That's one to watch maybe. So we're excited about what he can do here on Talking Brazil Ball. He played the second half of this one, like I said, scored in the 71st minute of the game, and he's looking a prospect there. But like I said, Rogerio Ceni will be mightily disappointed with his team there, and they just seem to draw. They've drawn 5 games in a row now. Incredible. The last league win was against Chapecoense in mid-July, so they haven't won for nearly a month, over a month now. Like I said, but the other side of the coin, they haven't lost, but too many draws. But they haven't lost in 7 games, but they haven't won in 5 games. So it's a little bit hit and miss for Rogerio Ceni. He will be very disappointed. He's still sitting 6th position, Bahia. We know Bahia now. They have the money of the City group. So they're a little bit of a bigger fish than a lot of people might suggest. This would have been disappointing for them. Like I said, one of the goals, it was Faria. Sorry, not Faria, because that was an own goal, but it was Esievo. It was a great goal, running onto it, and he smashed it in the top corner. You think, Bahia fans are probably thinking, come on now, we've already gone ahead and been pegged back twice. Let's go on and win the game. They couldn't. And like I said, Chapecoense, for all the relegation sort of nearly confirmed. I mean, it's not nearly confirmed, but it might as well be because they're not going to stay up. And Lacerda, the manager who's been there since May, let's see if they stick with him in Serie B next season. But like I said, he's not going to keep him up. He's had 8 games. He's not won any of them. It doesn't make for good reading. And they're on the way down. And yeah, it's like Sport Recife last season, just losing too many games and almost given up the ghost already. Very disappointing. But Tulio, could be a shining light for them. Like I said, 2 goals in 2 games since his arrival from the lower leagues. So let's wait and see what he does. But yeah, that's him winning the Young Player around the world. Well done to him and Chapecoense, who finally were on the end of a positive result. Well, still no wins in quite some time. Still no wins in the league since January, which is absolutely insane. They haven't won a game. They have only won 1 game since then, which was a Copa do Brasil triumph over Fogo. They turned that game around after 1-0 first leg defeat. But other than that's atrocious. And the sooner the season comes and closes, the better for them, really. But that's Chapecoense. At least they've got some light in amongst the darkness with Tulio and his goals. So there you go. Congratulations to him on winning that award. So that's the final award. Then we will just look quickly then at the fixtures for next time round, and then obviously we'll round up the table as I always do. So let's get the fixtures up for round 24 of the 2026 edition of the Brasileirão. It begins on Saturday the 22nd of August with Fluminense against Remo and then Inter against Galo. Like I said, the Talking Brazil Ball derby. It is into Sunday the 23rd of August. Cruzeiro host Flamengo, Bragantino host Grêmio, Palmeiras host Vasco, Bahia travel to Vitória, Sao Paulo travel to Chapecoense, Santos against Mirassol is a big one at the bottom again, Curitiba against Corinthians, and then the match week ends with Fogo against Atletico PR on Tuesday, early hours of Tuesday the 25th of August. So there you go. I think I'm going to go with the Talking Brazil Ball derby as my game of the week. Of course, Inter against Galo. Let's wait and see who comes out on top of that. I hope, obviously, that my team will, but let's wait and see. So we will, to end the episode then, as always, round up the table. So top of the table are Palmeiras, Luxembourg on 48 points. Second is Flamengo on 45. Third is Atletico PR on 41. Fourth is Fluminense on 38. Fifth, Cruzeiro on 36. Sixth is Bahia on 34. Seventh is Bragantino on 32. Galo 8th on 32. Ninth is Corinthians on 32. 10th is Curitiba on 31. 11th, Fogo on 30. 12th on 29 points is Vitória. 13th, Sao Paulo on 27 points. 14th, Santos on 25 points. 15th, Grêmio on 25 points. 16th is Inter on 24. Into the relegation zone then in 17th position, Mirassol on 23. 18th and 23 points also is Remo. 19th is Vasco on 22 points. And like we said, bottom of the pile as always is Chapecoense on 11 points. So I don't think there's been any managerial changes just yet. It's, crazy that pretty much all of them are keeping with the managers at the moment. So yeah, we'll wait and see. Hopefully that will continue. But yeah, we will be back again next week for yet another episode. Until then, enjoy it. Enjoy the last knockings of the summer. And yeah, I will say deuce. See you later.
Talking Brazil ball, we're breaking it down. Bringing the passion from every town.